Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Playdate number 11 of Talent League. This is the minor league, and we are here tonight to watch Mouseplayz versus Ewave. I'm here. I'm 2XB. I'm here with Artifex Warden. Hi, Warden. How you doing?
Hi, always a pleasure to be here with you too.
Such a charmer. You've been charming me non-stop since I joined the channel. So this is it's not a huge game tonight for one of these two teams. Well, the game tonight between them isn't really going to shift much between what these two teams are doing. But before we go into standings and looking at where these two teams are, we need to know, or we want to know, what we're playing tonight and what bands we've got, what map we're going to be on. Are we going to be suffering Oregon again, or are we going to get something a little bit fresh and different? That's the question, I think. Warden, what do you make of the map bans tonight? We see Mouseplayz ban Club, Coastline, and Consulates.
I mean, that's to be expected. I've seen that. I've been looking closely at the previous games, and it seems to me that Mouse has done very well on quite a few of those maps, and Ewave has struggled. I know that that Ewave, I think, have revamped their roster since the last few games that Ewave have played. But I definitely I had a feeling that we were going to be heading to CAF tonight because I like I said, the previous bans of what's been banned out, what's been played, how the good results that Mouseplayz have had on those certain maps means that Ewave, if they've done their research, might have quite a lot of VOD. So to take them to CAF, somewhere like CAF, that requires quite a lot of teamwork and coordination, and it seems to me that Mouseplayz is it's all there for that team. They definitely have that because of the amount of games they've won, very confidently. I think that it showcases that, and it shows that they're willing to go to that sort of map. Whereas Ewave, they've sort of struggled to kind of get going with quite a few losses and some pretty nasty ones as well. But the revamped rosters obviously come back, and they're now hungry. And I think their best game was actually on CAF, where they lost 5-7. But it was, I think, one of their better standing results. So I think it could be if Ewave come out swinging tonight, could be a really good game.
Yeah, I think Cafe. I think it was Ewave versus Elysium that you would be looking at. I think that's the only game that either of these two teams has actually played on Cafe. So we don't have loads of knowledge to go back to for either of these teams on this map, apart from, like you say, the Elysium game where Ewave did lose it, but it wasn't like they got stomped.
No.
So maybe, it wasn't necessarily a bad choice for them to let this map go through. Okay, so Cafe is going to be an interesting one. Cafe's been played a lot this season, I feel, through various leagues, but I'm still not really bored of it. It's still a fun map to watch, so I'm looking forward to this one and seeing what these two teams are going to do. As we look at the standings, as we started, I was going to talk about the impact of this game on these two teams. However, if we look at Mouseplayz, they are currently in third place, with Ewave being down on 8th place. So Ewave have got 18 points, Mouseplayz have got 30 points. So between these two teams, their roles in the standings aren't going to switch at the end of this game either way. I think the team with the most to gain from it is Mouseplayz, who will go into second place if they take the win here tonight. But if they don't, they're still in third. They're still in good shape for playoffs. So I don't think this is a hugely impactful game for Mouseplayz tonight, if I'm reading the numbers right.
I think, though, it is going to be quite an impactful game for Ewave, because if this is, I believe this is their first game back as a new roster. And so if you're coming back after, a while with a revamped roster, you're going to want to come out swinging and showing everyone else that you're no pushover. So yeah. I think while it may be a small game for a team like Mouseplayz, this could be a big one for Ewave, because, like I said, you're going to want to come out just swinging, like showing the best you've got, really proving that you kind of don't deserve to be in that last position. You want to prove that you can still climb those standings and that you can put yourself in a better position.
Yeah, sorry, I got confused. You stopped talking, but I was looking at the wrong camera and thought you were still talking because I could see your mouth moving. All right. So yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like I say, if there's a new roster, you want to show that, hey, although we're down here in eighth, we're not out yet. We've got a new roster. We can still come back. We can still do some work. We might be playing against a team like Mouseplayz who are up there at the top, but we're still going to give it the best we've got and show that, hey, we can still compete. We might not get to the top this season, but we're here. We're not going anywhere, and we'll be back next season with the same roster, and we can still do good work.
Yeah, you want to leave that mark before the season closes out, definitely.
Yeah, go out on a high, even if it's not a high placement at least.
Mm.
Okay, so as we are just waiting for the teams to come in, the votes, the public vote tonight. So Twitter has spoken. As we know, Twitter knows everything. It is the font of all knowledge, and if there's anything you want to know, just go to Twitter, and it won't lie to you. It just
Totally
doesn't lie.
Won't lie. No.
No. And 77% of Twitter today have said that they think Mouseplayz are going to take the win. 23% have said that they think Ewave's going to take the win, and no one is betting on a draw tonight. Now, of course, we can have draws. We don't have overtime. There's no overtime. So a draw is possible. We've been talking about winning or losing, but of course, we forget draws are a thing. So no one on Twitter thinks that's going to happen. Warden, what do you think of this poll?
I think it's quite inclined to be correct. Mouseplayz have shown that they don't take any prisoners in the previous playdays, and that they're here to stay. They obviously want to grind to that top position. They want to put themselves in the best position possible. So I don't see them taking this game any less seriously as they would any other. I think Mouseplayz have definitely got it all to play for, but I don't see a draw out of the question. I think even if a draw happens, I still think that's actually more of a win for Ewave, because it shows that climb back from the bottom. I think if Ewave, even if Ewave do if Ewave walk away with a win or a draw tonight, I think they've come away the victor overall, obviously, because they'll have either won or they'll have shown that they're on the road to improvement. So, but I think that the community poll is looking on track, I think, for what the script is telling me. Oh, no, but yes.
Based on my knowledge of Mouseplayz, I think tipping the scales in their favor, 75%-ish to 25%, I think is probably fair. Having not seen Ewave play personally myself just yet, it's the first time, and I'm looking forward to it. I do like casting new teams, whereas Mouseplayz I'm a little bit more familiar with. So I think it's probably fair based on what I've heard. So all of the players are in the lobby, and I think we are just getting ready to get going. We are going to Cafe, and I believe Ewave are going to be starting on attack. So they're going to want to assert some dominance pretty quickly, as the game is now starting off, and we will be heading into Cafe. Now, if we look at bans, I'm not totally sure what to expect from Mouseplayz here, because we haven't seen Mouseplayz this map. The last time we saw Ewave play here, I believe they banned Thatcher and Mira, so we could possibly be expecting to see a similar ban coming out from them today.
Doesn't surprise me, with Thatcher always being that staple ban these days. He is just proving to be too strong, even with that previous nerf where he only temporarily disables gadgets rather than outright destroys them. And there it is. There he goes, off to the sin bin where he belongs.
Ageist, that's what I say. Ageist. So who do we think we're going to get next? So that was Mouseplayz ban. We've got Ewave banning next. They normally ban Thatcher. Who's a good choice for this one? I mean, we've got the likes of Hibana.
Could see a Jackal. Could see a Jackal come out. No, it's going to be Ace.
Interesting.
I mean, Ace can be really effective if you play him on those windows and throw in those Selma charges from Piano on that top floor. And then you can play those long angles with the AK-12. That weapon, again, it just rips people to shreds. So it's an Ace is, I would say, a good ban, and then it's going to be followed by a Goyo as well. Not sure about a Goyo ban, unless that's a specific target ban at Mouseplayz. I haven't actually been able to, unfortunately, review any VOD from Mouseplayz. Because Goyo can be brought fairly effectively on CAF, but I haven't seen much of it, let's say.
And the mirror ban. I I've seen Goyo banned a fair bit on Cafe. People like to play him on Pixel and areas like that, or behind the bar where the freezer is, which is a very strong position to be holding. Also, I've seen Goyo's set up quite effectively in the washrooms, right by piano or cigar lounge, as it's called. So I think Goyo possibly a good ban for top floor and the first floor as well. I have seen him used very effectively lately, so I'm not quite so surprised by that. Mirror, obviously not surprised to most people. Mirror's often getting banned, being pretty much the most banned operator in any league that you're going to watch when it comes to defense. I don't think there's a league where Thatcher and Mirror aren't your top two defensive or attacking bans. So we are going to start with Bar and Cocktail, most teams' favorite place to kick off. Let's see what's going to happen. Are we going to get the alibi being stuck by Calga here? We are. Yes, 6 pick is done, and Alibi's going to be in play. Alibi's seeing a lot more play since she got that 1.5
She's
scope.
seen a resurgence, yeah. That's, it's, you know, because balancing around sites is always a great plan and a good idea.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk recently about the nerfs people at Ubisoft are doing to the guns, and people aren't a fan of the recoil changes, obviously, but people do like a scope change in it. It is surprising how it affects people's decision on what operators to pick as well as utility. So we are going to get
to its high fragging potential. Sorry, I think it's due to its high fragging potential. Its recoil is fairly similar to the Roni. It's a little bit higher, but if you use the right attachments on it, it can be it can definitely feel like it. And with that 1.5, again, it just makes it a very, and there you go. That's actually a really good example I was just about to comment on. That 1.5 lending into that ability that she has, where it can just ping people out, can really show, it's where it can really shine, because it allows for the kind of nasty sort of spawn peeking plays that you saw almost pan out there for DC there, but unfortunately didn't. No one fell prey to those to that 1.5, so you're going to fall back off and choose to play a little bit more passive aggressive by just watching those entry angles into the site.
Yeah, I'm liking how they managed to get that early ping on that player. I'm interested to know where that alibi clone was. I'm guessing it might have been, well, it's in one of the windows, obviously, but it wasn't in white. But we are going to see two very quick frags coming out from Ewave, so they are setting the pace. Now, it is very common that attackers do need to set the pace of the map and not allow defenders to do so. It is by nature that defenders will dictate the pace depending on their setup. And as an attacker, you need to bypass that and start creating your own pace, which Dino's going to do, as he does manage to get a refrag, and that's the first player on the attack is going to fall, and that's Thermite, which is a big pick, along with Sledge and Iana, so some great fragging power and utility taken off the board here, and we're only halfway into the round, Warden, so Mouseplayz do good work countering Ewave so far.
Yeah, DC obviously showing the power of that 1.5 there by getting that gorgeous shot, but they now hold the advantage after Ewave did hold the man count, and it's all left to Speedy and Spooks left to clean it all up. So the Ash Zofia combo, the old utility twins from the old 20-second meta. Speedy is going to try and look to get quite aggressive in through piano, watching those angles into toilet, but little do they know, DC's fell back off and chosen to play white stairs instead. It's all left to them with 50 seconds left to go, and they're making slow but sure progress in towards the site as they carefully face-checking everything. And, well, face-checking does unfortunately grant them both a very swift death as they fall prey to DC. And, again, that 1.5 MX Storm.
Love the way at the end there, Zofia just comes stumbling through the door and falls down, like face plants into the chest of drawers, like she just had a little bit too much to drink and has just lost her footing. And actually, she's just been shot in the face. Quite a contrast. All right, so we are going to see Mouseplayz take the first round, which probably isn't a huge surprise. Considering how it started, it looked like it should or could have been E-Waves, but instead Mouseplayz managed to very confidently turn it around and put one in the win column for them. So well played to the Mouseplayz boys and girls for that one, as we are now going to go downstairs to kitchen service and kitchen cooking because they won bar. They cannot go back there, so they have to go to a different site. Typically, this is most teams' secondary sites. Sometimes you might see someone pull out a surprise reading room fireplace, like we saw in the majors at the weekend. We saw, I think it was Empire played it. It it was the team that Empire were playing against played it as their second site, and it does throw teams off when you go to Reading and Fireplace as a second site. But Kitchen and Service isn't going to be a big surprise, and Ewave are going to have all of the utility needed. They've got the Sledge for the destruction from above to shift those defenders out of position. They've still got their Zofia and their Ash. They've got Jackal coming out to play in this one, so they can track down those roamers as they work from the top floor all the way down to first, in what I would expect to be a pretty classic take coming out here from Ewave, with possibly Thermite either coming in for the bakery or for the freezer push, depending on the setup.
Yes. I think you're right. It's going to be quite classic here. I am a little bit concerned for Ewave. That last round, they threw a 2-man advantage quite quickly. I think that's a little bit concerning, and I think that if we do see Ewave start to pull ahead again, I know it's very early days, and that could definitely shift and change, but it doesn't exactly always bode well when you see a team lose, I would say, quite a sizable advantage. 2 people being taken off the board very quickly in quick succession like that at this very near the start of the round should open it up for Ewave, but instead it didn't, and well, unfortunately they lost the round. But
yeah. We're going to see the mute just drop back very quickly. It looked like he had a C4. He looked like he tried to toss the C4 but missed the mark, so shot it out, and then it's just very quickly retreating. I think that's actually pretty much given top floor control. In fact, as we look at the outlines, yeah, it looks like top floor control is completely in possession of Ewave now, and we do have the mute spectator bug where all we can hear is mute signal jammer. That is an F in the chat for our observer. Yeah, so it is annoying when this happens, but it is what it is. But we do still see a second floor presence here from the defenders. That's going to be Noah playing on Vigil. He's going to be trying to hold back the attack for as long as possible, and he is going to have it away on his to escape. Yeah, he shouldn't have got away with that, but he is still going to hold firm and wait for those players to... Okay.
Muse has relinquished us from his grasp. Thank you.
That's the way to do it, is to draw diagrams into the wall. Yeah. Yeah. Now we know the secret. So what do we... Oh! Okay, so we are going to see 2 players fall very quickly at the hands of Mouseplayz there, as Noah has taken a lot of damage in the meantime. Mute's taken a little bit of damage, but that shotgun does come off better, as you'd expect in those close quarters plays there in the reading room. Calga's going to get another one, and 5-1 lead now to Mouseplayz as we have 50 seconds left to go, and Speedy is all on his own trying to work out what his next step is. He's going to take down one with that LMG. That's to Calga, but his position is known. He doesn't have diffuser in hand. And playing up close like this, I'm going to give this to Vigil, and sure enough, Vigil is going to claim that life, and Mouseplayz are going to take a very confident second round.
Yeah, very confident it was. You could see the confidence leaking from them as well, because they chose to stay on that second floor for way longer than they needed. They stayed right up until the final minute, and they just applied that pressure. They would not budge from the trenches that they set upstairs, even though Ewave were bringing down the hammer on top of them and really trying to root them out. They stayed planted and they stayed firm, and it worked wonders because they managed to convert the round. They just won their gunfights. They won those one-on-ones, and there was quite a few misplays, I think, from Ewave there, and Vigil should have not been allowed to exit that cordon that they had him boxed in. He was essentially boxed in, and all they had to do was watch the entrances and somehow he managed to slip away from whoever was playing the Sledge. I'm assuming it was Aces because he played it last round. He just managed to slip away from his line of sight because of the metal bars there. So really unfortunate that managed to happen. It could have maybe broken open the round for Ewave, I think. Getting Vigil, picking off Vigil is always a confidence booster, because you don't have to worry about, if you're droning and you see that little haze at the end of the drone, you don't have to all of a sudden worry and think, oh, is he coming? Is he close? Where is he? Where is he going to come from? And you don't have to try and stop, get off your cam, and then look and then be extremely aware and use the sound in the game to try and figure out if they're around the corner or where they possibly might be.
Yeah, Vigil's a great one for throwing people off, whether you play him off-site as that roam to waste time, or whether you play him on-site just to confuse people in that, dying seconds or whatever when they're trying to make that push and they don't know where to look and they've got to face check everything. So yeah, it is great to be able to take him off the board. So as we go through Reading Room Fireplace, we're going to get a standard setup up on the top floor. We do not have a castle in play, which I would say is unusual, but we are seeing a little bit more commonly these days where castle doesn't get brought to the top floor when we are playing on Reading Room Fireplace. So it's interesting to see the lineup that has been brought. It's a pretty expected lineup, but we don't always see a pulse here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one is going to play out. We do have one player up top who's going to get taken down by Speedy. Opening pick is going to go to Mouseplayz. Sorry, to Ewave as the first player from Mouseplayz. Mouseplayz is going to fall. And he's very handily going to get onto cams and watch them and give his teammates all the calls they need in order to protect this bomb site. And hopefully do it as well as they have been able to protect the first 2 bomb sites, as we now see Ewave moving in and starting to take control of this top floor.
Well, unfortunately, they're going to get Mouseplayz is going to get a retaliation kill of their own onto one of the players from Ewave, and unfortunately, they're going to find a second DC again coming through with that pulse. It seems to me that Mouseplayz are wanting to play their defense quite fast, loose, and aggressive, and I think that is shown by obviously the lack of the castle here. Cario is going to watch the oh my god. Cocktail, that's it, Cocktail double door, very patiently, waiting upstairs, again, further delaying the time. And as well, that mute jammer on that double door is also going to mean that he can't get droned out, and they're not going to know where he is. But he finally pounces onto the thermite, and he finds another one as well. Oh my god, it's not looking good for Ewave here. And Ruben comes out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Oh, he swings from the top of white and just pre-fires into Cocktail and finds the kill. Wow. Yeah, they're definitely playing fast, loose, and aggressive today.
It's as if he was sat there on white for a little while and he was like, you okay up there? And Karudo's like, yeah, I've got this. Are you sure? Yeah. Like, I think I'll come and give you a hand. And he just comes in. Yeah, that was a great play from Mouseplayz. Great teamwork there, baiting that player along the white hallway towards the player on white stairs, not realizing that there's a smoke just sat there, just waiting with an SMG-11, and he just pops him as he's walking past, not even paying attention. So great teamwork and communication from Mouseplayz. Not great spatial awareness or game sense going on around Ewave on that particular push. So we are going to see the 3rd round in a row going to Mouseplayz, and they will go back to their primary site, which is going to be Bar and Cocktail. We are going to see a Rooney being brought into play, which I do like to see up on the top floor here. I love how much a Rooney is getting played. She's been really embraced as a defender in this game, and I love it.
Well, those laser gates have been vital, I think, to her high pick rate, especially since they are indestructible. You can't get rid of them. You can only knock them out for a period of time up until the defenders choose to reset them. Another thing as well is that Bionic Arm Punch. She has become what Ubisoft want to try and look to start creating is a architect character series, and I think it's a really good and an interesting idea that they brought into the game, because she's not a massively effective architect, quote unquote architect. It can be quite slow, but when you pair all of it up in her loadout and what she brings to the table in terms of both utility and weapons, especially that DMR on defensive can be nasty. We've seen it be used to devastating effect in both pro play, both in lower tiers of pro play and higher tiers of pro play. And having been a victim of it, it's horrible, especially when it's got that 1.5.
Yeah, she's a great operator to have, and also obviously the fact that you've got that powerful punch does allow you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to your primary weapons for the likes of smoke and mute. Should you want to, should you prefer the SMGs, you can take them and not have to worry too much about bringing a shotgun if you have that Aruni in play. Aruni, obviously, though, not quite so handy when you want to just pop a window for a spawn peek, as I always forget, but still, it is great. And Spox is going to claim that early kill there onto Wamai, and you don't want to lose Wamai quite so early on, because obviously as the round goes on, he gets stronger and stronger, and to lose that utility so early on is a huge, huge, unfortunate issue for Mouseplayz. But Janik is going to get down there, as Alibi is just going to be ducking. and weaving and dodging and diving and just getting picks.
They can't weave forever, though.
No.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to weave forever. But poor old Yannick as well. That was kind of... It was really painful to see. I believe maybe Yannick thought they downed them. And they got dropped into the floor, and they tried to clear the laser gate, and then... DC just still saw their chance and sprung up and decided to swing. And, well, Yannick's going to get his revenge onto Ruben as he swings through, looking into Cocktail. It's now all left to Carido in a 1 versus 2, essentially. 1 versus 1 now, and he's going to find it!
Wow.
Oh, my God! That is devastating play.
That's not the way that was supposed to go. The way that was shaping up, it was supposed to go completely the other way. We saw some classic Siege timing there as Ruben was looking over towards where Yannick was, and then just the split second he looks away, Yannick peeks around and gets that kill, and it looked like there that was possibly a turnaround for Ewave, but then that incredible play at the end there by the Mozzie player. No, it wasn't Mozzie, sorry, a Rooney player. I saw Roni, I thought Mozzie. By the Aruni, turned it around completely back in the favor of Mouseplayz, and they're going to put 4 in a row on the board. That's going to be it's a mental mountain for Ewave to climb to come back from this. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a big challenge as Mouseplayz have really asserted some dominance here and are going to go back to kitchen service and cooking for their second site.
Yeah, I'm now starting to get a bit worried for Ewave. That's twice they've had the lead. In fact, they've had the leading kill several rounds in a row, and they still haven't managed to convert the advantage. Mouseplayz are just, well, they're pulling off some really good plays. They are managing to convert stuff that they really shouldn't be able to. They are just finding Ewave one-on-one and beating them in those 1 versus 1s, and it's just how they're carrying the day. Unfortunately, like, you could see that Ewave were trying to get a pinch going on, I believe, because of the way their players were positioned, but unfortunately it just didn't pan out. That it was just too slow, unfortunately, and sometimes that is just unfortunately how it is. But Noah here's Matham is gonna look to get a little bit aggressive and go for a cheeky spawn peek, but unfortunately they're not gonna be able to find anyone who get playing around near the spawn. Carido almost loses his life, but manages to get away. DC though leading off the round with a kill against Aces.
Yeah, it's a great early kill there for Mouseplayz, but it is going to get quickly traded by Spox, as he is going to take Mozzie out of play, which is some very important utility and a great little gun taken off the board. But they still have to worry about Noah, who last seen was roaming around on the second floor, just as he was previously, trying to hold back that attack from above. We can see he is still up there and holding that beautiful default angle there down into Prep and to the bakery double door. He is going to get that kill, but he's going to get quickly refragged and taken out, leaving us with 3 players left on Mouseplayz just to turtle up on site. But we can see there is actually still 1 player up there. So it wasn't just Noah. We have Mew playing up there as well. And he's just going to get a kill and just stroll off, leaving the attackers guessing as to what's going on. Speedy and Fly are the last 2 left standing. We've got some hard breach and some soft breach, so they've got the utility that they need. They've got 4 drones in the pocket and plenty of time to get the intel that they need to be able to make this push. It looks like we're lining up for a pretty standard bakery take. They just need 1 player to shut down Prep to make sure they don't get peeked as they open up that main wall, which looks like is the play that we're going to start going for now as the gas grenades go out to slow down that push.
Yes, Fly very patiently holding an angle through the gas as he tries to see through, but will try and find somebody, and unfortunately, well, another victim is going to fall to DC, I believe, as it's all left to Fly now to use this final minute of time to try and convert the round. But with the amount of health he's on, and, well, with DC doing scalpel work with that SMG-11, it's going to be really hard for him to do, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do it. Yeah.
Ewave is struggling. Ewave is struggling.
They're really struggling to... They're finding openings, but credit to Mouseplayz, they are resealing them as soon as they open up. I think there was a bit of a misplay there from, I believe it was Spooks from Ewave, who, for some reason, knew where the player was, and then peeks around the corner whilst reloading, and then unfortunately dies to the player who they know is playing the vertical. I'm not sure if that was maybe a misclick, or he thought the player had evacuated the area. But that was, I think, a big misplay there. I think if Spooks had managed to pick off the player who was playing that vertical angle, then that could have really opened up the round for Ewave, and they could have looked to push onto site a little bit more effectively and not meet 3 bodies on there. But unfortunately, meet them they did, and fall to them they also did.
Yeah, and it's going to allow Mouseplayz to go just 1 round away from match point as we go to the last round of the first half. I talked in that round there about the drones that they had left, and disappointingly, we didn't actually see them making use of that time and information that they had available to know where the players in Kitchen were. Otherwise, we wouldn't possibly have seen Sophia fall to that gun that she did fall to. So yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more intel gathering coming out from Ewave. It feels like you say, they get the opening picks. They're not doing too badly at that, but then once they sort of lose that and they go into a bit of a deficit, it's like they get a little bit lost and start to wonder what they're going to do now, because I guess it feels like they've got a 5-man strategy, and once they've lost a couple of those 5 men, they're not quite sure what to do to recover from that. And that is a beautiful spawn peak denial coming out there from Aces playing on the Flores. I do love to see a bit of Flores play. So looking forward to see what he's going to do with this operator.
No, I just unfortunately got a bit too aggressive there, and a bit too, well, just, I think, confident, really. The confidence just thinking, they'll be fine, they can't beat me. And, well, unfortunately, mate, sometimes you do lose those gunfights. But now the real question is, are we going to see Ewave, again, throw a man advantage? Normally, this isn't the case in competitive play. Normally, when you lose a man, you're more likely to lose the round. With the first pick, whoever loses whoever gets the first pick is more likely to take the round. And they just haven't been able to do it. Just Mouseplayz have managed to bounce back every single time, and I'm wondering, are we going to be able to? Are we going to see Ewave finally stop this bounce back from coming out, or are they going to shut it down in its process as they look to push this top floor here and gain control? Unfortunately, the Flores drone is going to get unstuck because you can't control the Flores drone. It is constantly set on a forward pace, so it can be fairly difficult to actually control. And I think we're going to see a bit of that there, but but it is going to, well, Mouseplayz, they're going to do what they always do, and they're going to make a comeback, and they're going to find 2 members from Ewave and make that another. As unfortunately, Aces also falls to Ruben.
Yeah, we're left in a 4 versus 2 now in favor of Mouseplayz, and we haven't even seen the players drop off of the top floor yet to start retreating back to site. They're very quickly going to make it 4 versus 1, leaving Speedy as the last player standing. He's going to claim 1 life, but he's not going to be able to get enough. It's that 1 life is just that 1 impactless frag. As without even a thought, we see a player there from Mouseplayz just strolling through the rotate made by Ewave themselves, I think. And take him down, and that is it. Match point at the end of round number 6. 6 in a row for Mouseplayz.
Oh,
it's not looking good for Ewave. It's not looking good.
In a bad place, man. I mean, again, we failed to see them convert the advantage. I think simply because of how they are not expecting Mouseplayz to be both this aggressive and it working out. Like, they are not losing a single gunfight. We saw whoever was playing it escapes my mind at the minute. No, it was Noah. That was it. Noah. Even though we saw Noah lose that initial gunfight on the spawn peak, Mouseplayz just still come back and just clap every single person they look at. It's fantastic play from Mouseplayz. Ewave really needs to start learning that, hey, maybe we should be taking these gunfights together and not one-on-one, because you're clearly losing them. Now's the time to buck up. You are on the defensive. You have the advantage. Defenders always have this natural advantage against the attackers, and you are playing on Cafe, a quite heavily defender-sided map. So now is the time to use it, and now is the time to look to use the pinch ankles to your advantage. If we don't see it, well, Ewave are going home with a 7-0 loss.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth pointing out at this point that Calga on Mouseplayz has actually got more kills than the whole of Ewave combined after 6 rounds. I think they've got about 12 kills between them, and he's got 13. The guy is just absolutely nuts. Let's see what he can do with the Type 89 in his hands, if he can go off quite as much as he has done with the operators he's been playing on defense. Yeah, so Ewave now moving over to defense, like you say, Cafe typically more defender sided. Let's attribute 75% of Mouseplay's success in the previous half just to that simple fact alone. So let's take the other 25% that was just Mouseplayz being better. Theoretically, we should see a fair bit of work being done here by Ewave. I'm not expecting a 7-0 at this point. Based on what we've seen so far, I think I'm going to go with a possible 7-3 here, but I'd like to see Ewave do a lot more. It looks like they're going to play a little bit more passively than we've seen Mouseplayz playing on their defensive side. We've got the standard Pixel Shield, a couple of ADSs, barbed wire to give them that early intel as to when a player's going to push them, and we've got a couple of roamers downstairs just waiting for that time to pinch or shut down a bottom floor up roam clear, but we are going to see Aces claim that first killer. Maybe this is what we need to see coming up from Ewave, as they're going to get a second very, very quickly, but still a player here on red stairs to worry about.
Yes, now that's what we want to see. We want to see them take the initiative. We want to see them take the initiative and take that advantage. Now they've got to use it. They also have the diffuser. They have that diffuser. This is going to be really difficult when you're going to have Aces as well playing close to it with a shotgun. It's 590 as well, one of the best shotguns in the game. It's going to get even more difficult for Mouseplayz to try and recover the diffuser. Noah looking to reclaim that diffuser there with Aces. He is looking the wrong way, so it's entirely possible. The pin is pulled on a nade, I see. It does come out, but no. Aces has managed to back off. There's still a minute left, so there's still time for Mouseplayz to recover the diffuser and actually make a play. And oh no!
That shouldn't work.
Aces just getting a little bit too big for his boots, decides to peek a pixel angle against Cardo there, and well, unfortunately it doesn't work out. Now they've recovered the case, I believe. Yes, Noah has the case, and now they're looking to make the push into sight. Ruben going in hard with that F2. Speedy's going to try and get the flank round and see if they can deal back some damage that's been reaped by Mouseplayz, but unfortunately not being able to find anyone, and the plant does go down. This is 2 versus 2, so it's entirely possible for Ewave to come back from this, and a lot of Ewave's utility is also up. Smoke, I'm not sure if Smoke... Smoke has all 3 of his smoke charges left. He needs to look at using his utility, otherwise that's going to be such a waste. No! Noah's going to fall! It's all left to Speedy in a 1 versus 2.
No.
I don't think he's going to be able to do this, and he's not. Mouseplayz are going to take it in a 7-0 victory here on CAF. That was an absolute slaughterhouse. A real turkey shoot, one might say, for Mouseplayz.
Turkey shoot. Beautiful. Yeah, that was, I mean, that was Mouseplayz from start to finish. Ewave just not looking at all confident in that one. I'm not sure what to say, Warden. I was hoping for more than that from Ewave, but they just looked a little bit lost against the presence that Mouseplayz had. It didn't look like they really knew how to counter it. They couldn't win the gunfights. Just Calgary alone, as I said, was just running around, just shooting stuff and just putting things in Mouseplay's favor. They were so close at the end there. That was actually the first plant that we saw go down and be successful. And they had the manpower to be able to get the retake, but Mouseplayz just held their positions and again just won gunfights, and that's what it came down to, is just winning those gunfights.
I think Ewave tried to come back with their own aggression, and it unfortunately didn't pay out, because we saw the player from Aces who was desperately trying to fight the sledge of Carido on that top red hatch, and unfortunately just losing in the tiniest angle. Now, don't get me wrong, any other weapon, I think he probably would have had a better chance than Sledge hitting those shots.
Yeah.
But when the SMG-11 is such a, I want to say, it's got a high vertical recoil, and there are lots of players out there who can control it very, very well. And I'm not saying for a minute that Aces isn't one of those players, but it's really difficult to maintain it, especially on an angle like that. A pinpoint accuracy on that tiny crisp. We're talking no bigger than a millimeter in some cases on that, and it's just. I would, any other weapon, you go, yeah, okay, you could win that, but he just unfortunately couldn't, and I think that's where it kind of threw the round a little bit for Ewave because Ewave did have that advantage. I think he should have played close to that door, played his 590 advantage because let's face it, if you swing with a 590, you're going to win that gunfight almost 90% of the time, if not even more percent. And then I think another big crime or a big mistake that unfortunately came from Ewave. Why didn't Speedy use any smokes? You could have smoked off that diffuser. You had a minute left to play around that diffuser. You could have smoked off that diffuser so many times and brought it down to at least 30 seconds to delay the time.
You got one job, Smoke. That's chuck out your toxic babes.
Mm.
Going to an interview now, it seems. Who are we getting in for the interview?
Ruben.
We have Ruben from
Hello.
Mouseplayz. Hi, Ruben. How are you?
Good, very good.
Good, good. GG's, that was GG's for you guys. That was an incredible one. 7-0. What's the feeling like in the team after winning 7-0 against Ewave tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. I mean, I feel like we weren't super surprised, not in a bad way, but we just we were doing our basic stuff, just having a good time, just doing what we normally do. And then after the first few rounds, we'll say it felt a little bit easy. So yeah, it wasn't too
You were playing
unexpected,
very
we'll say.
aggressively, it must be said, and it was working. Were you and the team like just really feeling kind of the vibe? Just like was spirits high and just thinking, yeah, we're just gonna take these gunfights and we're gonna win? Because that's honestly in some cases what it looked like tonight.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, we definitely did some aggression. We'll say that. But I mean, there was definitely some rounds like that last attack round where we just dropped a skylight, we smoked it off, and just ran in. I mean, we just spotted the mistake. We knew one was off site. We knew we had the advantage. We had too many people for them to handle, so we just ran in, took the fights, planted, and yeah.
Yeah, you did well to you as well. I must credit as well. You played a lot of pinch plays as well. I noticed It's very clear that you and the team were really coordinated together because you just had their number dialed in on that last round in that 2 versus 2. You knew exactly the way they were going to come at you, and unfortunately, they just came at you one at a time.
Yeah, we had a bit of trouble getting in there at the beginning, but we got the picks back, and then again just spotted the mistake in their play.
Were you expecting such a big win against D-Wave? I mean, we could see the confidence through the game. I mean, like you said, you were having fun. We could see you guys not, you weren't memeing, but the way you were playing, we could see some things being drawn in walls, for example, by some players. So, clearly you guys were just having a bit of fun. But were you expecting it to be a 7-0?
I mean, by no means we were expecting 7-0, but yeah, I mean, like you said, like we were having a little bit of fun. We kind of were expecting to win this, but 7-0 was a little bit of a surprise to us. But it's a good surprise. We'll take it.
I think one final question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go for it, Walden.
The one final question I think I've got is why CAF tonight? Why CAF? Is there a reason behind it, or?
I mean,
just on that wavelength too.
I mean, we were looking. Well, we were hoping for Oregon. But I mean, yeah, I mean, we're all right on Cafe as well, so nothing disappointing. I think like we weren't specifically looking for a map in particular. It was more just we wanted to avoid a couple maps. But we were happy with Cafe, so yeah.
Cafe is a good fun map. So I think that win puts you into second place, and I think it's Ninso just ahead of you. I believe. I think when you played Ninso only just beat you.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Because I mean, you're secured playoffs at this point. I would say. How are you guys feeling about going into playoffs? You feeling confident? What do you think your chances of taking the league and moving your way up into majors for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're definitely pretty confident. I think the only game left, which will probably be a bit of a close one, really, will be the Blue Jays because they've also been undefeated.
They were at the
obviously,
top.
Yeah. So that will probably be a pretty good game, I imagine. But I mean, all the other teams, to be honest, I'd say we're fairly strongly confident. To be honest, taking anyone to any map, really.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that was probably all the questions that I would have. Before we close, Ruben, is there anything you want to say to the stream, to the fans?
I mean, I hope you enjoyed the game. I mean, I didn't have nothing particular, no.
No, fair enough. Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much for your time. And like I say, GG's to you and the guys. It was great fun to watch.
Yeah.
Unexpected in terms of quite how well you won. The vote, I don't know if you know, the vote was 77% in your favor on Twitter. So the fans were behind you as well. So yeah, not a lot of people surprised by the result, but yeah,
Wise
it was certainly
decision.
fun to watch. So thank you
All
very
right.
much for giving us a fun game,
Yeah,
Ruben, and have a
sure.
good evening.
You too. All right.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Okay, bye. So Warden, that's it for the cast, I think.
I believe so. Yes. I believe as well. Be good to point out. I believe the next playday is on the 30th. I can't remember.
Monday.
It's a Monday.
Bank
Yeah,
holiday over
Monday.
here in the UK. Nice.
So yeah, clear your schedule and look out for that game.
Yeah, I'll be watching, I would hope. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for casting with us tonight, Warden. It's been great having you, as always. Always nice to work with you.
Always a pleasure too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much to Trippin for the excellent observing. Director Trippin, man, the myth, the legend, who runs the league. So thank you very much. Great observing and producing. Thank you. Yeah, make sure you come along to watch the next game. If you're not following on Twitch, make sure you do follow and get your notifications so you don't miss the games. And we are on Twitter as well, so get those notifications so you know who's playing when and you can plan your schedules and clear your time out. And of course, if you want to follow 2TextB and Warden as well, our ats are there on the screen. Just plug. All right, I think we will close there. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, guys.